Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, Air the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about how Alec Baldwin just got away with murder, as well as a bunch of other stuff, including calling out anti-gun state reps here in Ohio and people who are kind of rhino-ish, to at least some extent anyway, or have done rhino stuff, is what it is, with anti-gunners is what it is there. So, yeah. Mostly it's going to be calling out Josh Williams again, since he does follow us on X, but doesn't actually have the balls to, admit what he did was wrong with House Bills 420 and 421, which are nothing more than a bunch of BS created programs. We're going to do nothing except steal from Ohio taxpayers. And then the other one is going to be creating a basically anti-gun czar in the state, that leads a task force. That's going to do nothing but give them a couple $100,000 in money, is what it would be then. So, yeah, I just called out to State Rep Brian Stewart did something today where he was with Josh, and he, tagged Josh in it and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, this is probably a good idea to just call him out on this one then. I was like, yeah, why don't you ask Josh why he's co-sponsoring this crap as a Republican dude? So, because the thing is, we've seen it before. I'm saying again, dude. Every time these leftists, every time these Democrats, etc., want to create, legislation that will create some kind of a program thing, it's just rife with embezzlement, legitimately. That's all it would do. It would create, these BS programs that they claim are going to help a bunch of kids that are, victims of so-called gun violence and stuff like that, which is absolute BS in itself, dude. And what it'll actually do is it'll enable people to come in there that are going to be a bunch of scumbags, and they'll be able to literally just, embezzle the money that are meant for these programs, and then you're going to probably a tenth of what the money should have been going to these actual programs, going to them, and then the other 90% of it's going to go into somebody's pocket, more people's pockets for that matter. So, yeah, there's no reason for it to ever pass, no reason for it to ever become a law in the state. And if Josh, as a black man, wants to actually address the root cause of Ohio's, child violence at this point, I don't know, maybe address all those homeless dude in the community. Seriously. And I've talked about that for almost 7 years now is what it is in this state, dude. Actually, over 7 years now, I'm thinking about it. Because, yeah, people want to talk about that for real, dude. Going, racially based stuff and stuff like that with communities across the country right now. When you look at the black community in this country as a whole, the main root cause of a lot of the fucking problems that lead to kids becoming criminals is no father in the household, period, the story. And until you want to address that root cause, nothing's ever going to change. And it's as simple as that, really, truthfully speaking. So, but anyway, we'll get into a couple other topics as well, for that matter. I also want to address something that Josh did here today as well, or not today, but a couple days ago is what it was. As the sole sponsor of it is what it is there, the only Republican on, and anybody, actually only legislator on it at all, for that matter. So, I think they might finally be on break for the summer now is what it is. I think maybe that was the last piece of legislation that got pushed through the other day is what it was. So, but yeah, we're also going to talk about, obviously the main story today will be Alec Baldwin's trial being dismissed for the Rush shooting, which is absolute bullshit. That judge needs to be in jail right next to his ass for dismissing the whole thing, dude. For claiming, oh, there was evidence that was hidden or whatever the case be. It's no, there fucking wasn't. It's just because the cops didn't give them back live ammunition doesn't mean that live ammunition wasn't used on that set that day. And the thing is, it's not and again, it's not there's not hundreds of fucking people in that fucking place that were part of that fucking movie set that couldn't testify. The reason I quit 4 or 5 days before that was because of negligent discharges on set with live ammunition. That's what I'm saying. It's fucking insane, dude, is what it is. Because there was multiple instances of people quitting that dumbass fucking movie set that Alec Baldwin was a producer of, by the way. He was the main producer of that fucking movie on that set. There is what it was. So yeah, the buck should have stopped with him, literally, dude. When he's the one basically funding and producing the damn thing. And the issue there, obviously, is that when you have people who are yeah, I'm going to quit en masse here because of some dumbass using live ammo on set 2-3 days before the shooting happened of Hutchinson's, that woman that was the cinematographer woman there. It's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. And to sit there and let this literally anti-gun hypocrite piece of fucking shit, Alec Baldwin, who I guarantee is a fucking child molester at this point, dude, just like every other motherfucker in Hollywood at this point is. And if he's not directly raping kids, he's definitely enabling others who are, is what it is then, which, given his fucking past and his bullshit and his leftism and stuff like that, dude, there's no fucking way he's not raping kids at this point. So, and I'm pretty sure, actually, if I'm not mistaken, his name was on the Epstein flight logs. Like, it was one of the many Hollywood fucking pedophiles' names on the Epstein flight logs. There's what it is, dude. So, not to mention, he's just a piece of shit father to his kids. And just a complete scumbag in general. So, honestly, of all the Baldwin brothers, the only good one was Steven. The guy who played in Biodome with Pauly Shore. And mostly it's because he became, I think it was a born-again Christian, if I'm not mistaken. So, and it's basically, that's the only reason he hasn't really been in Hollywood lately for the last, decade or so, is because he's a little dedicated his life to Christ now is what it is, and helping people, redeem themselves and stuff like that. And good on him, man. Like, good on Stephen Baldwin for actually being the good Baldwin brother is what it is, and fuck the rest of them, honestly, especially Alec's ass. So, anyway. But, and the thing is, it's not like Alec didn't lie under fucking oath, basically, due to the cops and he was being questioned and stuff like that. And was like, oh, I never pulled the trigger of that gun, I never pulled the hammer of the gun, et cetera, there, dude. And it's like, you would have had to do both, you dumb motherfucker. Like, guns just don't go off on their own, dude, especially not those kind of fucking guns that are single action onlys. So, yeah, it's fucking pathetic is what it is, dude. But yeah, this is the story here from ABC News. It says, judge dismisses Alec Baldwin's Rust case after defense claims evidence was withheld. It says Friday saw one of the prosecutors in the case resign and another testify. It says in a stunning turn of events, a New Mexico judge, being this Mary Marlowe Summer woman, who I'm almost going to guarantee if somebody does a deep dive into this chick, there's going to be similar cases to this one, honestly, where she's let people who are obviously guilty off the fucking hook and dismissing trials and stuff like that. Like, I would not be surprised at least if that happened in the next couple days, honestly, dude. So yeah, look for me to do another story in the future about this this judge lady, Mary Marlowe Summer, because I guarantee you, she is some leftist activist judge and stuff like that. And it'll come out pretty soon that it's going to be her being a piece of shit in general, like her being another Kataji Jackson Brown and stuff like that, dude. Where they're just letting criminals off the hook left and right is what it is there. So anyway. But yeah, she dismissed Alec Baldwin's Rust case Friday on day 3 of the manslaughter trial, which should have been a fucking first-degree murder trial, by the way. Like, first-degree intentional homicide trial is what it should have actually been. So the judge granted the defense's motion to dismiss the case, in which they claim live ammo that came into the hands of local law enforcement related to the investigation into the deadly onset shooting was, quote, concealed from them, which is absolute bullshit. It says the judge said the state's discoveries violate... yes, Judge Mary Marlowe Summer. So the state's discovery violation regarding the late disclosure of a supplemental report on the ammunition evidence injected needless delay into the proceedings, approached bad faith, and was highly prejudicial to the defendant. Yeah, and of course there's fucking piece of shit Baldwin doing his fucking crocodile tears. And if those actually are real tears he's fucking shedding, it's because he knows his bitch ass got away with murder today is what it is, dude. And he was basically just sad because that was going to go to jail for a while for his own fucking piece of shit ass criminal acts is what it is there. I also want to point something out too, for people who don't know this, man, that Helena Hutchinson woman that he killed, literally after she did the Rush shooting, she was going to go do it to expose pedophiles, dude. And there's been a conspiracy for a while now that supposedly Alec Baldwin actually shot and killed her because she's supposed to be a fucking child molester. So, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a running theory, honestly. And it'd be pretty damn, what you about that, dude? Like, it wouldn't surprise me at least that was actually the case right now. So, but anyway. It said, quote, there is no way for the court to right this wrong, Summers said, and granting the motion to dismiss with prejudice, meaning Baldwin cannot be tried again on the charge. Of course, he dismissed it with prejudice just because that fucking reason. Oh, yeah. So the motherfucker really got with murder is what it is. He's not going to be tried again ever again. Dude, I'll tell you what. If Helena's husband walked up and just blew his goddamn brains out right now, like, Gary Pluchet style with his son's molester and stuff like that there in that airport, it'd be justified across the board right now, dude. Or if any member of Helena's extended family did that shit with Alec Baldwin, who just walked up and blew his fucking head off, honestly. Like, it'd be justified across the board right now, dude. Because it'd be like, you killed our aunt, you killed our mom, you killed her, whatever it could be, if that'd be the case then. Or hell, let's say 10 years from now, her kid that was a little toddler, whatever the case be, he's like, 10, 12, 14 years old, whatever it is there. And, Alec Baldwin's still alive, and he just finds Alec Baldwin, hunts his ass down, and kills him then. Again, justified. So, yeah, it's such a bunch of BS is what it is right there, dude. As his Baldwin reaction emotionally as the judge explained her ruling, and could be seen hugging his wife in the courtroom. And the fucked up part about this was, by the way, for this manslaughter trial, this asshole was only facing 1.5 years in prison if he was actually convicted of this whole thing, which it should have been 18 years, honestly. To life is what it should have been there. This decision followed a day-long motion hearing Friday amid the actor's involuntary manslaughter trial over the death of Russ cinematographer Helena Hudgens, who was fatally shot by Baldwin in the Santa Fe set of the Western in October 2021 when his revolver fired a live round. No, it's when he fired a live round from the revolver because he was too fucking stupid to actually, whenever the hell the guy yelled cold gun, he should have been like, oh, okay, let's fucking test that, dude. Here's the church right here. Here's a fucking, literal dirt area of, sand and shit over here. Fucking fire the gun 6 times. They could have done that and it would have been a cold gun at that point. Or it would have been like, oh shit, there's a live round. And they would have found it right then and there and she would have been dead now. But no, it was, at minimum, even if it wasn't first-degree intentional homicide of that, it was still negligence as fuck at that point on Baldwin's part because, 1, he was the main producer on the fucking movie. 2, I'm pretty sure he was funding some of it. And then 3, he was also the fucking lead actor of the damn thing. So at the end of the day, he's the one that has final say of what the fuck happens there, dude. And the fact, like I said, you had other instances of charges on set on that fucking piece of shit film in the days leading up to that whole thing. It just shows pure negligence across the board right now, is what it is. There's a reason why Helena's family is suing the fuck out of Baldwin and his family. Because he literally killed their fucking mother and their wife is what it is, dude. So, yeah, it's a bunch of shit is what it is, dude, entirely. It's a bunch of fucking garbage, man. Anyways, this court dismissed the defense's motion in the absence of the jury, or of a jury. An unprecedented move, special prosecutor in the case, Carrie Mosley, also called herself to testify on the matter. So during cross-examination of her, it was revealed that the other prosecutor in the case, Linda Ocampo Johnson, resigned from the case on Friday. Says Morsi said it was because Johnson didn't agree with the decision to have a public hearing. And then it basically goes on from there to talk about all this BS that basically got it canceled. There's what it is. Which, by the way, it wasn't just Alec Baldwin who should have been on trial for first-degree murder at that point. It was Hannah Gutierrez, whose dad was the legendary armorer, and and the only reason she was the armorer on Russ is because of her father. It's this dumbass leftist cunt right here is what it is, dude. And I'm going to see if I can find better photos of her from 2021. Yeah, there's her dumbass with the fucking guns in her hand on that one. And then, yeah, there's her crazy leftist ass back then, dude, with the fucking purple and yellow hair. So that's what that bitch really was, dude. She was a fucking SJW hire, is what it is, man. But of course, she make herself look all, pretty and looking good now, is what it is there. Back to the brunette now. Actually, I think this still was from a video where she was all demonically nuts, is what it is, with that fucking yellow and yeah, that's what she actually looked like when she was arrested, by the way, was the crazy yellow and purple Joker hair, is what it is, dude. So, And the thing was, like, even if Baldwin himself did not place a live round into that gun, even if Hannah Gutierrez a live round into that gun, there was 8 other people besides her as the lead armorer who had to the van that the guns were in, dude. That should never be a thing, ever. If you're going to be the lead armorer on set, you should be the only person with a set of keys to the fucking place where the guns are stored, dude. There should not be more than half a dozen other people, almost a dozen other people for that matter, that have keys to the fucking place too, is what it is, dude. That's insane. It's fucking retarded, is what it is. And it goes to show, again, negligence across the board. And it's not like I haven't called that bitch, that Hannah Gutierrez Reed bitch, out a few times now. Like yesterday, I called her out actually on the Aftermath last night. Because it was when she was on that set of the Nicolas Cage movie, The Old Way, a couple years back now. Like back in like 2020 or whatever it was, they were shooting that thing, is what it was. And yeah, she was doing all kinds of fucking negligent shit there with firearms handling, dude. Like, it was shoving the barrels of guns into the fucking dirt to try to, like, figure out what's wrong with the chambers or what it is there, dude. And possibly obstructing the bore in the case. And then handing it back to some little kid to fire off is what it was then. Or, better yet, when she literally walked up behind a bunch of people and was like, boom, boom, like right by a bunch of horses. They're like, what the fuck you doing, bitch? And she's like, oh, I just wanted to make sure the horses weren't going to get spooked when we started using blanks. Like, what the fuck? Like, how are you even on the set right now as anything, let alone the fucking armorer? Like, Jesus Christ, lady. Or like I was saying the other day when you had her, like, with 2 fucking revolvers underneath her armpits while she had lever actions in her hands. Because she was too stupid to actually put the stuff in a bag together to bring it out. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Or make 2 trips for that matter, even, you know. Because in the first place, what it should have been was, if you're gonna have like handgun with you like that, the revolvers or whatever, dude. Like, it ain't that hard to put on, like, you know, 2 holsters, lady, on either side of your fucking hips, basically, and just put them in there. And then you're just carrying 2 of it then. Safely. So, yeah. Like, even if it was, like, 2, like, you know, old school Western, where it's, like, one on the left, one on the right kind of thing. But now we actually have modern handgun belts. Or handgun holsters, I should say, at that point. Where you can use a belt at that being the case, dude. You just have them in there is what it'll be then. You just pull them out and give it to that person then. But yeah, she's. God, this pisses me off so much, dude. And to know that it was without the fucking, like, to know it was without prejudice or whatever there, dude, is even worse, because then it's literally that piece of shit Baldwin just getting away with murder now because he never been charged again with this whole thing. You know, and that's the thing, like, all these lefters now that have been giving shit to Kyle Rittenhouse about how his trial went down and stuff, dude. Like, it's the same thing with Baldwin, except in this case, Baldwin's actually guilty as fuck is what it is. This thing is what it is, dude, for real. But yeah, going back and reading some of the stuff about this dismissal here is what it is. Said defense argued alleges evidence is buried, says an expedited motion filed late Thursday. Defense argued the case should be dismissed over the handling of ammunition evidence. Said during court on Friday, state argued the evidence was not exculpatory value, or had no exculpatory value, and is not relevant to Baldwin's case, as the matter was initially raised during court on Thursday. Says defense attorney Alex Spiro, who should be fired on the spot, by the way. Should be fired on the spot, actually, on that one. Just this fucking judge, too, for that matter. So that state's witness, Marissa Appel, a crime scene technician with the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office, who collected evidence in the case about a, quote, Good Samaritan who handed over ammunition to the Sheriff's Office in March, says during Rest Armor Hannah Gutierrez trial, that had reportedly ended up with Seth Kenney, who supplied the film with firearms, blanks, and dummy rounds. Says Gutierrez, there you go. She was by the way, the armorer in this case was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in Helena's death. with prosecutors arguing the armor was the source of the live bullet that killed her and saying she failed to follow safety protocols meant to protect the crew while handling the firearms, which is kind of fucking ironic given that piece of shit Baldwin himself was the fucking producer of the goddamn film, and again, had the final say of, hey, I don't care if you're yelling cold gun or not, dude, go fire off 6 fucking rounds right now. And confirm that this gun is, in fact, dummy round at this point. Again, it falls on his ass as the fucking main producer of the damn film to double check stuff and have safety protocols, dude. That's the problem. But Alec Baldwin is an anti-gun hypocrite sack of fucking dog shit. So, of course, he's not going to say a fucking word about it, dude. He's going to kill a woman in cold blood because he's a fucking moron and a retard is what it is. Honestly, if that be the case, then in this case is that, in fact, this case went that way, dude, then any other future firearms case where it's like involuntary manslaughter, stuff like this, dude, needs to be vacated across the board right now, based on this case precedent, if that be the case, dude. And every single other person that's sitting in jail right now that had previous cases that happened exactly like this or whatever, similar to this dude, then vacated across the board. Release them all. Restore their rights at that point, dude. Restore the firearms rights. Because if you're going to let piece of shit Baldwin get away with murder like that, dude, then it's time to let a whole bunch of other people get away with it too, then. Like, if people really want to be too absolutist on that one, let's do that, man. But that's the whole point, though. There's actions, there's consequences, and Alec Baldwin is obviously not facing these things because, again, it goes back to our 3 to 4 tier justice system where, God forbid, you can bribe a fucking judge, which is probably what happened in this case, I'm guessing, honestly, to get away with nothing, dude, is what it is. Like, the thing is, it's not like the motherfucker was going to prison possibly for 18 to 25 to life, for that matter, dude. He was going to prison for a year and a half of his life in probably some fucking cushy-ass fucking minimum security place. If he wasn't convicted at all, for that matter. It's a joke, dude. I'm just listening to a fucking joke. It's not like, it's also not like Hannah Gutierrez Reed's not going to be out in a couple years, too, for that matter, dude, even though she helped murder this fucking woman. It's BS entirely, dude. Anyway, that Marissa woman testified that her lieutenant instructed her to create a report documenting that an individual came and gave them the ammunition, and she filed it under a case number different from the Rust case. That's weird. Well, honestly, it's not that like, that seems like a clerical error, if anything, dude. That it was just somebody handing you ammunition, you just like filing under a different case number, whatever the case be, instead of like filing under this case number. It's like her stupidity is what it was. It's not they were trying to bury evidence, dude. It's her just being a dumbass in that general case is what it is. It seems like, honestly. They had defense attorney Shapiro saying he buried it. Her response was no. There was a supplemental report on it, and this was placed into evidence. So that piece of shit attorney went on to ask, isn't it the case that law enforcement likely has the matching rounds to the ammunition that killed Miss Hutchinson's? To which the investigator lady said, do not know. And do you not know because you made a document report about this and did not put it with the rest of the Rust evidence, correct? Said those rounds were not placed with the rest of the Rust evidence, correct? Said nor were they sent to the FBI for testing with the Rust evidence, were they? So no, they were not, which they should have been, by the way. Because again, that would have proved right then and there, dude, that fucking Baldwin was guilty as shit, honestly, dude. So yeah, that seems like a fuck up on their part, then the local law enforcement is, dude, not. But yeah, it shouldn't have been a dismissal of the case at all, dude. It should just been like, no, like we're just gonna go ahead and do this now, and like you give it a day or something like that, and like day 4, it's like, okay, cool. FBI tested them last night. Yeah, they match. Baldwin's guilty as fuck. Put his ass away for a year and a half of his life. Like I said, I really hope this motherfucker what's coming to him pretty soon, dude. Honestly. Like he just needs to get frontier justice at this point, dude. Like he needs to learn what happened back in the 1800s, dude. With a lot of motherfuckers back then. So, yeah, fuck him, dude. Seriously. Fucking piece of shit criminal, dude. So, Speaking of piece of shit criminals, going back to Ohio here for a minute. So Josh Williams, the Republican I was talking about earlier, he apparently introduced a piece of legislation this week that would regard offenses committed while wearing a mask or disguise. As it says here, it was amending the sections of the Ohio Code to enact a revised code to modify the offense of aggravated riot when the offender is wearing a mask or disguise, aka Antifa and BLM, etc. there, and to require an additional prison term for additional prison term of 1 year for an offender who is convicted of or pleads guilty to a felony if the offender is convicted of or pleads guilty to a specification that the offender wore a mask or disguise in the commission of the offense. Which I think this goes back to what happened in the State House back in 2020. We have BLM and Antifa attack and bust all the windows and caused like millions of dollars worth of damage what it was there, and also did a whole bunch of other shit to deface statues and stuff like that, and like busted a bunch of stuff inside the places what it was. And of course, nobody was arrested or prosecuted for that, which is absolute bullshit entirely. So, yeah, something needs to be changing though, is what it is, dude. And hopefully that'll be the case, and then they'll go through as legislation before the end of the year. Here's what it'll be. Oh, by the way, if you have AT&T, a bunch of hackers now have your information from that hack a couple months ago, as it was. AT&T says hackers stole records of nearly all cellular customers' calls and texts. So the data collections records of calls and texts between approximately May 1st and October 31st, 2022, and on January 2nd, 2023. That's it. Hackers stole 6 months worth of call and text messages regarding records of nearly all AT&T cellular network customers. The company said Friday a breach that has the potential to reveal sensitive information about millions of Americans, said the company said in SEC filing that it learned from an internal investigation that in April, hackers unlawfully accessed and copied AT&T call logs that were saved on a third-party cloud platform, which, by the way, those should not have been saved on a third-party cloud platform, you fucking clowns. Again, this goes back to all the shit we've been talking about for years about the government and fucking giant corporations spying on us, dude. That right there shows that. Because they're illegally collecting fucking data like that and storing it for it to even be there to be hacked and taken from people, dude. Like, people need to sue the fuck out of AT&T and bury their asses in fucking bankruptcy lawsuits at this point, dude. Seriously. So, anyways, this content of the calls and messages were not compromised. The calls and messages was not compromised, and customers' personal information was not accessed. Bullshit, it wasn't. So the records do include phone numbers. Such information is often called metadata. With this information about communications and considered highly sensitive, especially when collected and analyzed at large scales to reveal patterns and connections between people. This is AT&T wireless network has 127 million devices connected to it, according to the company's 2023 annual report. Yeah, it's a bunch. They need to get sued, man. End of fucking story on that one. It's a bunch of shit entirely, dude. So, and of course you got this horseshit out of Montana here, which is backers of ballot issue to preserve right to abortions, aka generational genociders, aka child murderers, mass murdering kids in the womb at that point. In Montana, sue over signature rules. And what they're suing over, by the way, in this whole thing, is something that they shouldn't even be able to sue over, because the whole point being made here in this is, what's that now? I saw it. I forget if it's in the first paragraph or second paragraph there. Yeah, it was inactive voters that they were allowing to be put on these fucking they were allowing to be put on the ballots and stuff like that to be counted, and that's why they're trying to sue is what it is there, because the Secretary of State, who's this lady right here in Montana, Christy Jacobson, was like, no, dude, you're an inactive voter. Your signature doesn't count, nor should it count, by the way. Because the whole point of being an inactive voter means you haven't voted for at least 1 or 2 election cycles at that point, dude. Which means you're not on the voter rolls at all. So yeah, why the fuck would your signature count towards any ballot initiative when you're not a fucking legal voter at the time, dude. It's fucking retarded is what it is. And in this case, he's tossed out on fucking precedent at that point, dude. And be like, no, fuck you, baby killing pieces of shit. Go eat a dick. You lose. It'd be as simple as that, really. Anyway. And then finally, last story of the day. Another piece of shit that needs to be arrested for child abuse and crimes against humanity is this little video here of this sick piece of shit leftist TikToker says that all kids should be put on puberty blockers because we don't know if they will identify as transgender later. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a biological male or a biological female. I'm assuming it's the second one, but who the fuck knows anymore, dude? Like, most of these people look androgynous and stuff like that anyway because they're a bunch of beta male pussies is what it is. So...
can't trust a child to know themselves and their body. Therefore, I propose that all children be put on puberty blockers before they hit puberty. If they're not trans, cool. They can get off puberty blockers and continue puberty as they were.
That's not how it works, you dumb cunt. You literally sterilize the kid at that point, you dumb motherfucker.
If they are trans, then you just save them a lot of emotional pain from the secondary sex characteristics they have. Because they're too young to know whether or not they are trans, and that means that kids are too young to know whether or not they are cis. It's two sides of the same.
By the way, it's called straight, you fucking piece of shit. Racial slur. The whole cisgender thing is a fucking knock against straight people, dude, by the way. It's a little insult to us.
Boy, baby. We can't trust any kids to make any decisions.
Yeah, we can't trust pieces of shit like you do have voting rights ever, bitch. So go fuck yourself. Like, seriously, how are people like this still walking free to this day, dude? Like, it just blows my mind, honestly. Like, that's the kind of shit that needs to get a person hunted down and get their fucking ass beat in the streets at that point, dude, seriously. Like, I would love to see this person arrested and then just get their ass kicked in Gen Pop a few dozen times so it is there, man. Yeah, and somebody in the comments said, this is what these nut jobs believe. By the way, I want to point something out. The shit called puberty blockers are putting these kids on, dude, is the same fucking drug given to pedophiles in prison to chemically castrate them. Literally sterilizing children, you fucking Mangala piece of shit wannabe. Yeah, this is what this Jack Turban guy said here. So this is what they believe. It says puberty blockers temporarily reversible are more than benign than going through puberty that can't be undone. If you can't see that, then you really need to reflect on your own biasnesses, whether you consider trans people at all when you form your opinions. And that was back in April of this year, by the way, this idiot said that shit. It's like, no, dude, I'm not going to let you fucking sterilize kids and create little generational genocide, dude. It's psychotic is what it is. This is literally Hitlerian Nazi shit, dude, from 70, 80 years ago, someplace in there is what it was there. And I say 60, 70, 80 years ago because there was the same kind of shit happening like 50, 70 years ago here in America after Nazi Germany. You know, the entire thing in general that was made very famous by the Nazis, dude, was the same bullshit that Margaret Sanger used back in the day to target minorities. Which, by the way, for those who don't know, Margaret Sanger is the Planned Parenthood creator lady, is what it is there. And I think it was actually her that Hitler and them credited as, like, basically the eugenics fucking queen, more or less. So, yeah, it's just fucking insane, is what it is. Like, these are the kind of people, by the way, this fucking TikTok piece of shit right here, are the kind of people who are going to literally will right-wing fascism into place in this country. Because when that pendulum swings, like I've said before, dude, it's like the Game of Thrones sept being blown up by the wildfire stuff is what it is there. It's going to take everybody out in this wake, dude. Left, right, center, etc., dude. And it's going to be kind of like that one scene from the second season of Carnival Row, where it's like the sideways guillotine. It just chops like 10 people's heads off at once kind of thing. It's going to be shit like that, honestly, bro. And it's going to be these fucking clowns are going to be the first ones on the fucking guillotine block, basically. But anyway. Yeah, it's beyond infuriating, dude. It really is. Oh, and going back to the loon nuts out there that are all pro-abortion / baby killing, got this fucking nutty bitch saying, "I will kill myself before I have a fucking baby." It's got to be the chemicals in the water at this point, dude. Like all the fucking psych drugs and everything else like that in like major city water systems in this country and stuff. Because that's the only thing I can think right now, dude. Like it just has to be that kind of shit. So, and again, like why are we letting these nut jobs have voting rights at all in this country, or even walk free for that matter, when they should be in a fucking nut house in their own room someplace to do this, dude? So, yeah, it's just fucking nuts. Is what it is, dude. I think we'll leave off with this one because it has to do with our border system and how much of a joke it is right now. It says, "Listen up, American taxpayers." It said her friend owns a restaurant in New York and hired an illegal Venezuelan. So the illegal revealed she took the job just for extra money because the government is already paying her $3,000 per month, plus an additional $1,000 per month per child, giving her free iPhones, free medical, free Metro cards, free meals, free school for her kids, and they just started giving an additional debit card with more money on it for food. Says, quote, "So apparently Hispanic illegals who came here years before 2020 are beefing with the people who came after 2020. That means I got some tea for you. I just met somebody who immigrated here from Colombia with their entire family before 2020. Doesn't say if they immigrated legally or not on that one. Something might be illegal at that point then as well. So their friend owns a restaurant in Manhattan and hired a lady who's from Venezuela who just came here recently, illegally, by the way. Said, don't fucking know. I don't fucking didn't get the details. Says apparently lady keeps showing up for work late. She's not really giving a shit. And so the girl who hired her thought she was doing her a favor, saying, "Hey, I'll give you a job. Don't you want it?" Etc. Etc. She says, "No, I don't need it. Don't need to work hard. Don't even need the job. Just want to do it for extra money because the government's paying for everything." Is what it is there. Yeah, it's fucking disgusting, dude. What it is. Like this is the kind of shit that I'm saying, dude. Right now, like this is why there's gonna be violence before the end of this year. This is why we're gonna have tribalistic warfare in this country. And I even think it's going to be stuff like that, really, where it's going to be people that are like, illegals against each other at that point. It's going to be the people that are getting, the government handouts like crazy right now versus the people that ain't, is what it is. And it's going to be them having, stuff like that with each other then, and so forth and so on. So, and then eventually it's going to break down to probably racial wars. This will be then. So. But either way, it's just fucking ridiculous what it is, dude. That being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day on that. Some stuff I got to do right now. And we will be back probably tomorrow for Stand Your Ground Saturday, depending. My cousin's probably going to come over sometime tomorrow is what it is. So we may do it late. We might do it early. We might not do it at all for that matter. It's questionable at this point if I'm going to do it all right now. But if we do, it'll basically just be a gist of a bunch of cases. Then is what it'll be for standing ground laws and stuff like that. That's what it is. And I think what we might do is actually we might the Freakneck shooting recently that happened there in New York, and just have kind of panel together and stuff like that, see what people's opinions are on it, and see what like justified, was it not justified? Like, how would you consider it if you're gonna go on the not justified side? Like, how would you consider it to be not justified, et cetera, and like basically go through a definition of stand your ground and stuff like that. Even though obviously New York doesn't have stand your ground laws, but like other states like Ohio here do is what it is. So, in the jurisdiction of choose to stand your ground versus not, so. Yeah, either way, that might be tomorrow's stream. If we don't do it tomorrow, we'll do it like probably a week or so, then give or take. So, anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the day, though. Have a good one, y'all. Stay safe, stay vigilant. At the end of the day, fuck Alec Baldwin for being an anti-gun hypocrite sack of shit, and now a literal murderer getting away with murder of Helena Hudgens. I hope that motherfucker rots in hell very soon. Fuck him. Fuck his family. Fuck that piece of shit judge that dismissed the case. They all need to rot in prison for life, dude, at this point. End of story. Peace out, y'all. Later.